I don't just tell black secrets. I tell white secrets too. Because we all family. They don't lie to some of us, they lie to all of us.
Y'all want to know why they hate that we celebrate Black History Month? It's because Black history is a constant reminder that their ancestors were the bad guys. All Black history is us overcoming the obstacles that their ancestors put in front of us. Imagine if they had a White History Month, right? What role would we play in White History Month other than we were the ones to help y'all achieve the things that y'all achieved? There's no part of white history where we would be the ones that held white people back from doing anything. But all Black History Month is white people put all of these barriers in front of black people and we overcame them. We achieved all of this greatness despite being the ones that were being abused and mistreated. And who were doing the abusing and the mistreatment? White people. So they don't like the fact that, us celebrating our history is just a reminder that, dang, they was the bad. Nobody wants to be the bad guy. Everybody wants to be the good guy. So if you was wondering like, dang, why they just won't let us have our own thing? Because that's why. It makes them look bad. Everything about Black history makes white people look bad because of what they did to us. If they would have treated us equally and fairly, it would just be history. It wouldn't be Black history. But we had to achieve our own greatness on our own because of how they treated us.
Folks with very little power. For them, it's just habit. I have been speaking more vocally on race and sort of documenting my deconstruction of the racism I was indoctrinated into as a child. And when I make those videos, there are 3 different kinds of comments I get, excluding the racist assholes because I just delete and block them. But from white folks, I generally get, oh my God, I never even thought about it like that. And from black folks, I usually either get, thank you for speaking out, or how can you not know this? Why are you shocked? We've been saying this forever. And that third response is 100% valid, and I completely respect it. You're right. I should know it. We all should know it. But it's that first response is the reason why I'm documenting this process I'm going through. Have been going through for years, but it's accelerating pretty quickly right now. Because us white folks are stuck in this loop of we don't know what we don't know. We were literally taught lies. So I'm just going to keep speaking truth.
What's up, family? This is Lady Queen Black with news. I've been seeing Cat Williams stuff go viral, and then also attending Hillman Talk University, a lot of their classes. Dr. Barlow put this up, and Cat Williams, he's a smart cat. Check this out.
Just one simple question. If Black Americans celebrate their Black History Month, because this is the Black History Month, what does it cost white people to just mind their business? I mean, they're having a problem with this. They're having a problem that Black Americans are celebrating Black History Month. And they're also demanding that they want their White History Month because they also have history. They're trying to ask, who are we? We don't have history. Black people are always celebrating their Black History Month. What about us? Why is it that when Black people do their own thing, you feel entitled and you feel like you deserve better? And Black people, if Black people can have, you also think that you can have. And it's not like since Black people are celebrating Black History Month, they are saying that you should not celebrate Black History Month. That's not what it means. These are a group of people trying to remind themselves of the things that happened and how they walked away all from that chaos that you people created. And now there you are. You don't want to let Black people celebrate their History Month, the Black History Month. The Black History Month is important to Black Americans because it holds a significant historical part that touches Black people's life. So the entitlement that you have, that if Black people have Black History Month, then we should have White History Month. It is the same type of entitlement that you had when Black people said Black Lives Matter. Did it mean that when Black people said Black Lives Matter, did it mean that white lives didn't matter? Just a critical question that I'm asking. So we have all these white folks that are coming out and they are describing how they want White History Month because Black people are celebrating Black History Month. But before, it was just normal. It was just a normal day. But hey, ain't nobody stopping you from celebrating your History Month. Definitely, if you have something special to remember yourself. For me, I don't know. But let me know. Probably you have something special to celebrate about your history. I don't know what's that. Maybe I've forgotten. Or maybe you didn't remind me. Because I'm trying to look, I'm not seeing anything. Yep. I'm trying to look, I'm not seeing anything. So, brothers and sisters, please let me know what you think about this. And if you're watching me for the first time, I'm asking you to please subscribe to the channel, join the membership, and really get to see what I can offer you. But until then, I want us to dive right into the video, and then I'm gonna be back. I'll be sharing my thoughts in regards to this. And as you know, I'm your host and presenter stories, so let's get into it.
Mexico was a sanctuary country for enslaved Africans. On September 15, 1829, Afro-Mexican President Vicente Guerrero signed a decree banning slavery in the Mexican Republic. Sanctuary cities. Vicente Guerrero, Mexico's first black Afro-Mexican president, abolished slavery. Brigadier General Jose Urrea evicted scores of illegally settled white plantation owners, liberated the enslaved, and in many instances, granted them on-the-spot titles to the land they had worked. Texas President Sam Houston lamented, "Two valuable Negro boys, for which I had paid in cash $2,100 previous to my visit to Nashville, ran away last spring to Mexico. Thus you can see I am in bad luck." A little-known history of Mexico serving as a refuge for self-liberated black people and a provider of job opportunities for black immigrants from the U.S. to Mexico. The Mexican government severely restricted Anglo immigration and banned the introduction of the enslaved into the Republic. Mexico's history of support, sheltering, and even abolitionism of America's enslaved Africans is significant. Professor Wilkins presents this history from a perspective that informs the debate over the right of Mexico's undocumented immigrants to remain in the U.S. From the very beginning of his Texas colonization scheme, a determined and deceitful Stephen Austin sought to persuade Mexican officials to acquiesce and agree to the settlement of whites in the territory. It was generally acknowledged that the people and government of Mexico abhorred slavery and were determined to prohibit its practice within the Mexican Republic.
If you grow up in this country, you know they're not there. You learn early on in your life that you're not going to be naive, that you love your country, but you know it's not perfect. So you understand that. So it's no surprise to me, but I don't take any pride in it. But for some of you, you're finding out the other side of life. You're finding out. That's why this case is so instructive. You're finding out about the other side of life. That things aren't always as they seem. It's not just rhetoric. It's the actions of people. It's the lack of courage and the lack of integrity at high places. That's what we're talking about here. Credibility doesn't attach to a title or position. It attaches to the person. So the person who may have a job where he makes $2 an hour can have more integrity than the highest person. It's something from within. It's in your heart. It's what the Lord has put there.
Why do white people resent black excellence? Let's talk about it. Not all white people are racist, obviously, but there is a specific subset for whom black excellence seems like a personal affront to them, right? It really bothers them when black people succeed. The 13th Amendment emancipated enslaved black Americans in 1865, and then the Jim Crow laws kind of wrapped up with the passing of the Civil Rights Act in 1964. So if we do the math, that's about 61 years in which black Americans were able to strive for success in any sort of meaningful way without like the constraints of the law pulling them down. 61 years. If we compare that to white Americans who besieged a land already owned and occupied by indigenous Americans, we'll put that around 1620 when, the Mayflower came here, then that gives them about 425 years to establish success in this country. 425 versus 61. If we compare those two fundamentally very different time spans, like, how much did white Americans actually do in all of that time? If we were to compare even the poorest and most underprivileged of white America to black America generally, it is clear that white Americans are born way past the start line, right? By that I mean, by nature of being white in American society, you do benefit from all sorts of privileges, and to be frank, you're not exhausted by the horrible experience of facing racism on a daily basis, right? You do have a ton of privileges. So I imagine existing in this bubble of privilege that you like totally deny, the existence of Black people for whom success is like second nature, when it comes so easily and so readily, even though you've only had 61 years to achieve it, I imagine that's exhausting and frustrating. I imagine it makes people feel super, super inferior and hurts certain people's tiny, tiny little egos. And what do they blame that deep, deep psychic pain on? Well, of course, DEI and critical race theory and affirmative action. So I guess the question is, what might help those white Americans who just so strongly detest Black excellence? Like, what will help you? And for that, I would suggest like a lot of therapy, like a ton of therapy. And I would also just suggest that we open the schools, right? We teach people history.
So as I'm minding my business in these TikTok streets, I happened upon some think pieces, some videos created, by people who are talking about the Carmelo Anthony situation. Now, Carmelo Anthony, the basketball player, I know that joke is probably old by now, but Carmelo Anthony, if you're not familiar, is a 17-year-old Black boy from Texas. I am going to use color for a specific reason. A 17-year-old Black boy out of Texas that unalived a white boy, Austin Metcalf, at a sports meet. From my understanding, it was a track meet, and I don't want to get too far into the story because I don't want to be here all day with that. But look that story up. But from my understanding, there's different stories going on, so I'm gonna give you both two different summaries of two different stories that are going. One of the stories is that Carmelo Anthony was sitting under the tent. It was a tent that belonged to the opposing team, and as he was sitting under the tent, he pulled out his phone. He was talking on the phone. People were saying minding his business. And then he was accosted by Austin Metcalf and his twin brother. And they came over here, goading him, provoking him. A fight ensued between Austin and Carmelo. And then Carmelo pulled out the knife and unalived the young man, Austin Metcalf, by stabbing him, I believe, in his heart. Then there's another story that is saying that Carmelo did not have permission to be in the tent. He was the aggressor. He was the agitator, and the boys was just nicely telling him to move from under the tent. He wouldn't listen. A fight ensued, and then Austin Metcalf was unalived and died in his brother's arms. I'm not here so much to talk about the story itself because, I want to wait for the facts. But if you ask me my opinion at first, when I first listened to the story, I didn't know a color. I didn't know a color or anything. I heard the story and I was like, woo, did a fight end up with a stab to the heart and an unaliving? Like, what I'm saying? What's the before I even knew, I was still like, what's the circumstances? What caused that fight to get that aggressive? Didn't know anything yet, right? I'm thinking, school violence, man, these kids are, getting crazy now, stabbing at school, at meets or whatever, And I still don't not feel that way. I still feel like, what has it gotten to that, saying there's a stabbing at a school, at a sports event? What has it gotten to that anybody feels that they have, any student, any young person feels that they have to walk around to protect themselves with a weapon? I can't judge that man for having that weapon inside his book bag. I'm not going to do that, right? Because I will carry something. This world is chaotic. This world is crazy. There's shootings in the school. There's unalivings. There's stabbings. There's all types of violence, mass shootings in schools. You just never know. And so people are like, oh, what is he doing with it at a track meet? I don't think he was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna shank somebody at a track meet. I think he just probably has it there for protection for any other day. And this is what I'm saying with using logic. No, just because he has that on his person doesn't mean that he's a hostile or volatile person. It just means that's what he's using for protection. Because from my understanding, if you look at his background, he doesn't have any, he's not a hostile child. I know he has a high GPA. The reason why I'm saying I hear and I don't know is because sometimes you don't know what's true, what's not until the full report gets out there, and I haven't read the full report. So I'm just going by certain news outlets and what they're saying. He had a high GPA. He came from a family that was not broken, contrary to what most people believe about black families. There are black families that are together and who are married. And from my understanding, his parents have been together and married for 17 years. He comes from an upper middle class family, no trouble, a good guy, etc. I think the list is endless about the praises they sing for this young man. And then, you look at the situation with Austin Metcalf, and, people are saying, him and his brother was troublemakers. They was bullies. He's on his social media, with the whole, camouflage and gun and calling people racial slurs and using the N-word, etc. Now, for us, black people, the camouflage, the Ray-Bans, the certain trucker hat, whatever, it's like a uniform for racists. Just like, the red and blue scarves and bandanas are uniforms for gang members. It's the same thing. This is how, through the, whatever. So I don't know about that, that situation. But then you can't really look at that situation because it wasn't the person, the young man, Austin Metcalf, that came from the broken home that did the unaliving. It was a person that came from a good home that did it. So you see how you can't stereotype? You see how you can't just assume? Because it just depends on how you feel in that moment. Did Carmelo Anthony feel like his life was being threatened? Is that why he did the stabbing? Is his unaliving justified? I don't know. Let this play out in court. Not because you're black is it justified. Not because you're not black is it justified. We have to find out more. We have to see the facts. And just because he had a knife, that doesn't mean he's not justified. Now, a lot of stuff can be true. Was there a fight? Yes. Did a stabbing have to happen? Had to happen. Sorry. No, probably not. Why did it happen? We got to find that out because Carmelo did admit to doing it, right? So we definitely know that he did it. Are the brothers telling the truth about how it happened? Probably not. But just because they're not telling the truth doesn't mean that, the brothers should have been stabbed. We don't know. So when you're making think pieces, especially our black people, and you're making think pieces and you're like, this is why white people don't like black people. This is why white people don't like black people. No, there are some white people, I guess, that do like black people. Well, we're not talking about them. Racists don't like black people because they're racist. It's not because of your name. If your name is Shashanisha, it's not because you're loud in the library. It's not because you're loud at the movie theater. It's not because you have short hair or long hair. It's because of your skin color. If I hate you because you are not white, I hate you. It doesn't matter if you're quiet like Martin Luther King. It doesn't matter if you.
This is why white people are afraid of black people.
I was brought up in, quote, Bedford-Stuyvesant in my town. But I would like to say what scares us is I think we hear violence.
The young lady said she's afraid of violence. And isn't it sad that we who have been the victims of so much violence, now whites fear violence from us? We do not have a history of killing white people. White people have a history of killing us. See? And what you fear, may I say this, sir? What you fear, and it's a deep guilt thing, that white folks suffer. You are afraid that if we ever come to power, we will do to you and your fathers what you and your people have done to us. And I think you are judging us by the state of your own mind, and that is not necessarily the mind of black people.
If y'all notice, there's only one demographic of men that truly carry that prize mentality, that catch mentality. And I'm just going to say this. Personally, it's very hard for me to take that serious without seeing it as some type of generational trauma, some unhealed pattern that has been perpetuated. Because if everyone knows that the person to be pursued is actually the catch and the prize, what would make a black man think that they are if it's not like the trickle-down effects of slavery? Every time I hear a black man say, I'm the catch, my brain goes to a place where, oh, he want to be chased. His bloodline has not healed enough to rid himself of being chased in the field. It's giving he has a kink for being pursued by massa. It's giving he has a kink to be pursued and chased. I just want to know why y'all want to be chased. Y'all be finding yourself chased by authorities. Y'all be finding yourself chased out of establishments because of your blackness. And then it's being black and still wanting to be chased and pursued by your own woman. When are y'all niggas gonna free yourself from being catched? It's the fact that y'all want to be caught so bad and y'all are not even picking your woman and picking them and raising them up. Y'all are not even like raising y'all kids, but y'all out here in the field want to be picked, pursued, the prize and the catch. Yo, y'all want to be in shackles. Y'all want to be in shackles. Y'all want to be rescued so bad. And y'all just need to free yourself from this. So every time I hear a black man, no lie, I'm trying to heal from this mentality, but every time I hear a black man say, I'm the prize or the catch, I think of a nigga in the field. I think of a nigga in the field. I think of a slave nigga. I think of a house nigga. Because ain't no man that has his own authority and operates from a place of autonomy where he's not concerned about someone coming to save him or rescue him. He's not seeing himself as some prize to be catch because he is his own man and he does the picking and the choosing because that's a man that worked very hard to be where he is. And because of that, he feels like he gets to pick who he wants. That right there, that's a man. Not them niggas running in the field talking about, I'm the prize. Catch me. Yo, me can't take them serious. Me cannot. Because be effing for real.
Hello brothers and sisters, welcome back to the channel. I'm hoping that you are doing great from wherever you're watching me from. You know where it is. It's your host and pre. This is Entitlement Stories. Now, it's very diabolical that still people cannot fathom, them folks cannot fathom the fact that Black Americans are just trying to celebrate the accomplishments that they've made. So I don't know that part of history that white people are demanding that they want. I'm honestly struggling. I'm straining to see the accomplishments that they have made. I'm really struggling to see the accomplishments that these folks have made. And I'm looking right, I'm looking left, I'm looking center. I'm not seeing anything. So what's the reason as to why you should be having your White History Month? But of course you can have it and nobody's stopping you. And since Black Americans are having their own History Month, that doesn't mean that we are stopping anybody from having their own History Month. But if you're just trying to be honest on a larger scale, we are seeing a group of people that are not really happy seeing Black people celebrating the achievements that they have ever had. So I'm really, really interested in knowing what people had to say about this. Look, the reason we have a Black History Month is before its inception. We were very rarely, if at all, mentioned in American history books until it was observed we were not. President Gerald Ford signed a proclamation during the bicentennial, that's in 1976, asking all Americans to recognize the accomplishments of Black people. And there are many, of course. So for Black people to have their own Black History Month, it's because majority of the times, you people didn't celebrate the accomplishments of Black people. You celebrated your own stuffs. You celebrated the things that you believed in. You celebrated the things that you subscribed to. But you didn't celebrate the Black History Month. And so when Black people started coming with their own Black History Month, celebrating the accomplishments that they've made, celebrating the great things that that they have done, now you are here coming out trying to say that, oh, We also need to have our own Black History Month. And then you have a problem when Mr. Donald Trump recognizes the things that Black Americans have done. You definitely have a problems. I mean, you have a problem with that. That really tells a lot. That really tells a lot about you. And that really tells a lot about who you are. Because you are entitled, thinking that everything great's supposed to be coming from you first. So when it comes from Black people first, you are trying to ask yourself, why is this happening? Right? Somebody's saying that Trump knows the gig is up. People are finding out the truth about us being the true superior of this earth. They were only on this earth for only 6,000 years. Where we've been here 3,000 years. Picture that. Yeah. Most of the time, that indeed makes sense. Right. Somebody said that because the Obamas, the monkey meme didn't work to take any attention away from the Epstein files, it was his Trump card that failed. So now he's trying to pander to Black folks to get a new few of the silliest among us to speak in support of him, again to distract from the Epstein files. Yeah, that could be a probable reason. And we know that Trump is strategic. He ain't doing nothing for free. He knows that he's going to have few white people that are going to fight for him. He knows this as a matter of fact, and he knows that, and he definitely knows what he's doing. Somebody says that everybody of all nationalities from Black nations has their opinion about Black Americans. Black Americans are not just Black people. They are not they are also not African Americans, but they are foundational Black Americans. They were here way ahead of all Black nations, building the foundations in the United States with their blood, sweat, and tears among whites. They paved the path for all the other Black people that entered this country called the United States of America. That's true. I have nothing to add on that. Carmelo Anthony is the victim. I don't care what they say. He must have been provoked real bad to the point he had to defend himself. The men found lynched all around America. What if they unalived their predators before they got lynched? The law would make the criminal look innocent and the Black man who escaped getting lynched the criminal. It's 2026. We should know by now how they do. It ain't rocket science. It ain't rocket science. Somebody says that, I'm not sure about this history, but I remember as a kid, we used to play hand clap games saying, I don't want to go to Mexico no more. There's a big fat policeman at the door. He will grab you by the collar, make you pay $1. I don't want to go to Mexico no more. Shame on you. This tells me at some point Mexico was not a safe refuge for Black Americans, and it seemed to the same today. I'm trying to look. Okay, somebody say that no, they know a lot why they use their own white privilege. They know we live in the ghetto and they live in a better place. They know when they get a job better. Now, when they get a better job without a good education of a Black person who was well qualified, they know they see the ghetto we live in. They know. They now don't believe that when they say they don't know, they know. Sounds like more of a tongue twister, but so many facts inside there. Black history is a Black thing, not a white thing. Or for a Trump try to celebrate it when all he does is destroy Black history. I'm truly happy it bothers all the racist white people because of your ancestors done to Black history. Somebody say that he may not want to be chased, but he wants to be starred for the woman. Massa is waiting for him, bread, because Massa and his friends think he is so valued. And that is the slave mentality, not freedman, loving and living mentality to pass down a son or a daughter or grands. somebody said that FBA doesn't need Donald Trump to validate us. It's full of shit. We celebrate our people because we care to keep teaching our youth the importance we played in building this country, our inventions, our resilience, and our brilliance. We don't need permission to uplift ourselves. So I really don't know what you gotta say about this. I mean, I really want to know what you think about this, right? So tell me what you think about this. I'm your host and presenter Eugenic Stories, but until then, I'm hoping to see you on my next video. Until then, peace, love, and harmony. Salute.